Let's open this shit up. Yeah. I can't believe you can't see this pen that program that I'm using. Get rid of this pen program I'm using because obviously it's shit. You know what? Yeah, no. I got the picture. I'm saving it. This is actually a really good picture of King's Row. Like, this is a very well detailed picture. I like it. So we'll keep it around. Yeah. All right. Super shit style. All right. This is my path. I came out here, jumped around here. Here, you still followed the whole. Yeah. You're seeing it now. This is great. I jumped over here. And that was basically the path of my map. Here's where I threw the traps. First one, this is where I should have thrown it. The second one should have went here. My third trap should have been here. And my fourth trap should have been there. That was actually my second trap. Then finally my last trap was here. Wolfric, you son. We're not worried about these. But yeah, those are, yeah, good turret spots. Fuck plays Torb. Come on, guys. So, my basic theory is that Junkrat with no fall off. What? You didn't even see my Reinhardt explanation. Damn it. So I jumped up here. And remember, Junkrat has no fall off. So I'm going to stay at the distance that's best for me, that's safest for me to do what I need to do to give everyone else the greatest amount of hell. That's why I skirt around the outside of this entire map. I don't need to be any closer. I don't suffer the same damage fall off that almost every other class has. So when I was here, again, I knew I was going to be here for more than 10 seconds. I was going to be here for 2 flips with my grenade launcher. Why? Because they had a Reinhardt right here. And a Reinhardt right here denies essentially this area off, denies everything behind him off, and it sure as hell makes it uncomfortable to even go over here. But that is still possible. So this is AoE. This is what Reinhardt does. Just by him being here, he cut off that entire area. Get rid of all this. That's why I was shooting at the supports behind him. I damaged one support, and then I left. I was like, I don't have a good I don't have good line of sight. I'm actually kind of vulnerable up here because there's one spot they can attack, and if I want to get any information visually, they can attack me. So I dropped down. We came here. Here's where I should have placed the second trap to cover my ass. Like, this is the reason why I waited 10 seconds, and this is where we killed the Reinhardt. Killed the Reinhardt right here. What that did is now I know, one, they have a tank. Most likely the tank is going to be here. Supports need line of sight. They're going to be here, or they're going to be in this general area. They're not going to be close up. They're not going to be around because they still need view. So after we killed the Reinhardt, knowing that, I sieged from back here. Where I can't be attacked, I sieged all the way in. I didn't go like that. It was more like that, right? I got their Ana. I'm not gonna do main. Fuck no. I got their Ana. Ana, she doesn't really. I guess she gives some pressure, long range, but not too much. I'm not too afraid. When they're 2 down, came back here. I jumped over here. I got a little bit of sight. I saw what was there, and this is where one of these traps that I would usually do is just throw it off down to the low ground. Try to get someone there. I took one shot. I had my ult. Normally, I actually would have stayed at this point and attacked, because now I have the full view of where their support would be, and I have very easy access to it. but I didn't because I got my ultimate. I had the ult. This is a very safe spot. The only way, obviously, is up here, which no one's going to waste time. They could come up here, but they didn't really have anyone that could traverse the terrain like that. Ulted in, got their other tank. Now, I could have stayed up here for longer, but what happened is I actually fell off. That was a mistake on my part, and I got really lucky because the Reinhardt landed or walked under me. I actually landed on his head. So I was down on the ground at this point. Tanks are dead, support's dead. Just the Reinhardt was now here. The Zenyatta was here. Their Ana finally respawn was here. I think my team killed the Mei. But look at where they're at. Like, this is all they control. They're so far back that I don't really care at this point what I could have done. It would have been really hard to fuck it up. But we put pressure on the Reinhardt. Killed him, and Zenyatta ulted. Didn't get anything. But once you get a team pushed back into this small box, this is great for Junkrat, right? You're all about area denial. So, you just pick this area to deny. Actually, with his shots from where I was, it was more like this thin chamber. That was what I was denying. Just because how my shots fly. That's how I really look at it. Junkrat really doesn't hold an area, square. He holds areas linearly. So on defense, you'll see me hold this line. Very narrow line, but it shuts down a good part of the area. But this is like my general strategy on almost every single map as Junkrat. You hug the wall, keep as long distance as you can to do damage, trap to either keep yourself safe or, like this one, it's on the low ground and it has just a high chance of someone running there. So this is between the car and the building. You can such a high chance of someone getting stuck there, right? It's a choke point. But these traps, I didn't even do this one. This trap didn't net anything because they lost so many people they had to back off into the area. In which case, this trap did catch the Zenyatta at the end. I think this is the plan I would have against anyone on any map. I'd have to look at Anubis. I would have to look specifically to see what my plan is on most maps. But I guarantee I keep my distance. And this is for a couple of people wanted to play Junkrat better. I know you like to play Junkrat. Therum, you said you like to play Junkrat. Staying alive is the most important part, and you stay alive by being back here. You stay far away, keep a trap, force people to deal with, or for them to get hit with. There, just siege the back lines. If your team has if you're not having any luck getting to the back lines, just kill the Reinhardt shield. Allow your team to push through it. Again, like I said, if Reinhardt didn't charge here, he got greedy. He charged from here to here. He died because of it. At best, he killed Azaria. He thought he was cocky because they had a Mei wall. But Mei wall only stands up for 4 to 5 seconds. 5 seconds, exactly. So after that dropped, he died. With that, essentially the area that most teams would hold right here for about 5 to 10 seconds with was gone. It actually gave us this area. That single Reinhardt death gave us this area. It allowed us to get back here. It would allowed my team to get in here and here, which is really shit. One death can cost a lot, especially when it's really important to get a tank like that. There's an Anubis turret map too. Traps and hug walls. Yeah, that's a really that's a if you had to put it in a very small nutshell. Yeah, that's what I do. Anubis Road. Yeah, this guy that makes these maps for the turret locations, like these are high quality maps. I've been hitting the bus right. Sorry. Where do you fire at through the first choke? Do you mean when I'm defending or attacking? You know, on defense. All right, so let's talk about Junkrat defense. Can I undo all this? Will it remember all this? Yeah. So Junkrat defense. Let's keep yellow as my trap. My first trap there, and then I will usually be way back here, and I will be shelling this specific area. This is my main shots. As soon as a Reinhardt comes on, it's always going to be right there. I will start shooting the Reinhardt shield to put some damage on that. Yeah, so Hanzo is getting more and more play, and Widow's always been a popular play a class on this map. And the problem is they got a direct line of sight on you. In fact, I've been killed enough times where after my first volley onto this point, I get the hell out of here. I will then migrate slowly. I'll hop over here. On my way down, just keep on getting info. Most likely, if their Reinhardt's doing what he should do, he'll be right about at this point. And again, Reinhardt, the enemy Reinhardt being here, is that essentially secures them this entire area. From here, I will either trap directly to the left or to the right. Well, let's keep things consistent. Trap to the direct left or right of that door. Rarely do I put it in it. It just can get shot too easily. From there, I will stand here. And there's a very thin line that you're able to hit right here. It goes right past the statue, right through the door, right past the desk, right about there. That's a really good line. A lot of the supports and damage dealers will usually they'll come out here, they'll take a couple pot shots, and then they'll retreat here, and then you can kill them after they're damaged. That happens more often than not. I know it seems like a lot of things I'm like counting on to go well for me, but that actually happens more often than not. If they start pressuring you, like they're like, hey, there's a fucking Junkrat, kill him. What I'll do is I'll migrate from there to here, and I'll sit between these two. From here, there is a pillar holding this up. Pillar here, 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 here. I will hit the pillar and put grenades right here. If you hit at depending on how you hit it, you can actually reach them here. So that will usually keep it. Since you can't get a line on visually on me from here, that will usually off-put someone from jumping in here, and then they'll just go back to here. So what I do is I do this strategy just for a little bit, and then I come right back here, and I start attacking in here again. If their team rotates and comes in like this, which is what most teams will do, I will come right in at that point. If I notice my team getting stuck right here with a Reinhardt shield, and like my healers are way back here, Reinhardt's here, second tank is there, my DPS is here, I will rotate. This does two things. It keeps this safe. I shut down this area. Also, once the enemy is here, here, and here, Supports are back here. It gives me free access to this. You got to land your shots at that point. Uh, a lot of other flankers would be better at that, but Junkrat can do it. That's my general strategy on this one. And that usually works for me. If you ever push them out and you reclaim this, never hold it here. Go back to here. Now you can throw a trap again here or here on the other side of the wall, or on like the corners. Hold on, let me blow my nose. All right, sorry about that. Don't ever push this far up. So the problem is a lot of defense do this is after they get like a team wipe, everyone pushes up for no goddamn reason. You should treat it like the game just started and set up back here again. The reason for this is, like I've said, attackers have to attack, defenders need to defend. The reason why defense gets any sort of greater than 50-50 chance at winning this is that the defending team is in a perfect, like, everyone is where they should be. You get the main tank here, maybe the off tank right behind here, damage dealer, like at the damage dealer here, and the supports are safe. Like, it's the exact position you want to be in. As soon as you come up front, all this goes to hell, right? Like, it's really hard, you're set up correctly, to get in here. It's hard to get in here. It sure as hell takes a long time, and it's difficult to get in here. But when your entire team is pushed up here, and you're here and here, one, line of sight's from spawn. Widow, anyone can switch to a Widow or a Hanzo and start doing damage on you. Two, these are rather accessible. You know, I come here almost every map. Anyone with any type of altitude, vertical scaling can get here, and then your sides are open. Also, you're open from above, just frankly from the here and on top of the bus. Yeah. It compromises your entire structure. And backing up, you would think, oh, well, we can back up and maintain a formation. That is a lot harder to do than you think. Never push up. I think it's really stupid to do that. You have the terrain advantage. You have the positioning advantage. Use it. Don't ever give it up by going up. After here, we're just talking generality. The next place to hold would be this. And this corner is only the first step. This first corner is important to hold because it denies this. It essentially denies this. Stops your flank from getting attacked right away. People can come around here. If they're super sneaky, they come all the way through here, but it takes so much time, and you're going to notice someone being gone that long. Also, if someone's taking that long to flank, crush. Go in and crush, at least if the payload's here. In the 5 to 10 seconds it takes them to the flank direction, their team will be dead, and their flank won't matter. But yeah, you engage here, and then what you do is you use this space. This gives you time to either A, reset up, gives you like 5 to 10 seconds to get your team back into position. He's progressive. Yeah, I hope it was somewhat informative. But as soon as this gets breached, again, this area to get up to here, accessible, essentially you lose this line, and your area of influence is now like, it's like that. And even back here is vulnerable because of the line of sight from here. That's why it's really important to get this. And if you can push them up, so as you slowly fall back on defense, and then you're stuck here. So if you notice, every checkpoint, you have no flanking here. You have no flanking opportunities at 1. You have, after 1's compromised, you have 1 flanking opportunity. Once 2's compromised, you have 2 flanking opportunities. I think this is just map design in general, and is that I think it applies up here too. Apply. First line, you have no flanking opportunity. Yep. Second line, you have I'd consider it 1 flank in here. And then the third line, 1. I mean, yeah. So as you fall back, defense gives up terrain advantage. As you back up, as defense minded, you have to remind yourself that you are giving yourself space, which is good because you can consolidate your forces again. Right? You can get your team, you can regroup, you can structure defense. But you give up usually a flank, or at least an option of a flank. Oh, this one? Okay, so is that a flank? I wouldn't consider it one because your entire team is here. And this is a very long, skinny hallway. It's incredibly risky. All right, Wolfric, peace. Stopping by. This is very difficult to come down in any safe way. I never feel comfortable coming down this way. Like you can consider it is an option to attack down that way, but you'll probably get shot or damaged or basically persuaded not to go that way with relative ease. Now here's the thing. We talk about flanks. What do they do? Flanking inherently does nothing. So in an RTS, let's talk about Dota. You ever hear over here? You ever hear over here? He's looking this way, and he gets attacked this way. It does nothing. There is no advantage, right? Flanking does nothing inherently. In Overwatch, it's the same thing. If I'm sitting here, I take 100 damage from Junkrat this way, and if I get shot this way, I take 100 damage as well. What it actually does is, unlike a MOBA, which I hate that term, a MOBA you can see all around you. Heroes here, you can see all around you. Flanking is really... It has a lot less impact in MOBAs than it does in a game like Overwatch. Overwatch is a first-person shooter. You're limited to what you can see. Your field of view is like this. You can easily get shot. What flanking also does is usually, wherever the defense is set up, the supports will be set up perpendicular to it. Well, that's not always the case. Here, they'd be parallel. But in a case with an easier flank, it would be here and here. And what this does, for Junkrat specifically, you have a straight shot, a nice corridor to hit them with. And this is when I talk about using the map to your advantage. Yeah, you're flat-footed and take -2 to AC. Yeah, if only that happened, right? You actually don't take any increased damage. But now this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is a narrow corridor. I know on the map it looks big and open, but I'm lining myself up for a shot. And I have a good shot. I have 2 chances to hit what I want to hit. In fact, I don't really care what I hit, as long as I hit something. Same thing here. This wall gets up. No, this one's a little bit harder. You can come this way, and they're rarely going to be like that. It's possible. But most likely they're going to be here and here. but you still line yourself up on a better angle to hit multiple people with a single shot. So that's what flanking really does for me as a Junkrat. The vision denial and the fact that you're lining them up with the map, which gives you a better percent chance to hit. Because remember, Junkrat's a projectile. It's not hit or not hit. It's a percentage. I see it like gambling. But yeah, as you fall back, put that back up. As you fall back on defense, you gain space and you gain time. Use ground, and you also, more importantly, you gain a flank. If you look at it like that. Uh, this is why it's so important to hold that first line of defense. If you can hold these lines of defenses, it's really good. That's usually what I see in here. First, second, third. For this last point, man, this last point's difficult. This is your first point of defense. God fucking help you if you get to 2. And you're probably dead at 3. The first choke is so damn important because you cut off every single flank. There's no way to get around you here. Very rarely will people try to sneak in here. This is too obvious, and you have a clear shot at it. It's quite easy to shoot someone. As soon as you lose this, down to your second wall, the enemy gains this axis. Isn't that important, but it is a high ground axis, and it is annoying to root someone out of there, but they don't have a clear shot onto you. They gain the health pack, and they do gain, if you're pushed up about here, they do gain your behind. You can get shot easily from this. This first spot is so important. It also secures your high ground here, your high ground here, your high-ish ground here. It's just, you see teams and they fail on this first point, and if they don't fall back to 2 or 3 quick enough, they just die. You can easily get engulfed. We're talking Junkrat. We go back to this. I actually like to sit on this little cliff. I don't know what you want to call it. You can shell down from here. Depending on the skill of their hit scan, you can usually just push them off this first point to the second point with help of your team. Reaching this second point is actually difficult. You do line yourself up nicely with some, but it takes like 3 seconds for your shot to land. And if they have hit scan, they can easily shoot you down. Your best option is probably just to be with a team here. And this is where you can actually be up here. If they're too busy to shoot you and you can maintain this position, you can trap your back and you can just siege the Reinhardt shield. Okay. You can also get in here and more annoyingly above them. But remember, the deeper you go in, the riskier it is. So if you're attacking here and they're set up on 2 or 3, you're very likely to die. But with great risk comes great reward. You may be able to get a couple support. That'd be my general analysis for Junkrat here. Get him off this corner. Once they're off this corner, siege from here. Ah, man. You can't even get a good... It's hard to siege from back here. The arc is really high. But yeah, you can annoy some people here. I will trap here. That's a good one. Or I trap right here if their defense tries to get aggressive. Defensively, I basically did the opposite. Here's your first choke point. Here's your second. I will usually stand at 2. and siege 1. Your other option, which is riskier if they got a Hanzo or Widow, don't do it, is here. And you can crouch, and you can cut off all visibility from here, but you can still hit this entire area. You're also vulnerable from the low ground, especially if they got a Roadhog or something. It's not as safe as being over here. You can also hold the high ground, little alleyway. This alleyway is good because if your team falls back from 1 to 2, 3, 2 only gets held sometimes. Usually goes from 1 to 3, in my opinion. And hit their team from behind, side, and behind, and you also kind of have a way out back to your own team. The problem is if your team falls back quick enough and you're stuck here and you gotta go past this window, holy shit, there's some people that are good enough and they'll whoop your ass from here. That little bit of time can kill. I've put a remote mine here just to blow past the window as quick as possible. Right? It pays to be safe. The third, they try to hold here. Maybe this line if they're feeling. Follow longest path and siege the shield. It's gonna be a common element to everything I do. Hold the wall, shield. Trap here if you can't afford to go up that close. Even here if you can't even afford that. Right. You hold down the flank, and if you don't see any threat here, or trap here. It doesn't really affect anything, but it can trap if the defense gets aggressive with ults. What up, a dead person? Joining. I'm just talking about King's Row right now. That's how I would siege the first line. Second line, I enjoy getting the high ground or in here, depending on how greedy they are. You can bounce shots off of this little wall to hit Reinhardt's shield. You can also free access to shoot down there, and if you're feeling cocky, down that way. What I like to do here is throw traps, either from the high ground or the low ground. Throw traps here, or like if you're inside here. When they get aggressive, it's possible they'll get killed. If they've fallen back all the way to 3, and like they're just hoping to maintain this area, their last bastion. I actually really prefer being back here. Because everyone is just running on the point as fast as possible. Just attack the left and right of the payload, and you'll get kills. If you're feeling lucky, you can go up close and trap right beneath the stairs. Right around the corner. It's very hard to see that. That's how I would do it on. That's my general theory on most attacking. Right, yeah, shoot off some questions, dead person. But my general theory for attacking or defending is if you're defending, hold the terrain advantage. If you're attacking, neutralize the terrain advantage. Get high ground, get the chokes. Get that under your control. And slowly force them back from their first choke point, second, third. And the way I do that securely is by maintaining far distance and attacking their tanks. Right? That's all I care about. I attack their tanks so they can't hold area. If their tanks aren't viable, attack whatever you can. Killing the supports really works well. That makes the tanks weaker. But yeah, again, here's their line, far back, siege the line. Here, far back as you can, siege the line. Siege behind. For here, again, I would say here, here. I don't like going up there that much, but here as well. This is greedy. This is really close. Being far, siege the line. Over and over and over. What a lot of play that like people will say I do good is death matching, and that's just when someone forces a confrontation with you. Hopefully, it takes so much distance to get to you that they have to deal with teammates, or you can get a couple shots off on them and give your chance self to get away. Being a VOD, um, I can highlight it, you know, and highlight will stay on my channel, and I'll probably just highlight me drawing and not me fucking up for like 10 minutes because that was terrible. I really wish I can get this pen program to work. Pen program I have works a lot better, but it's like an overlay on top of uh it's treated like a separate layer. That's why my window capture won't get it. Yeah, I can highlight it. But this doesn't apply just to Junkrat. This applies to just gaming theory in general. Uh First bullet point. High ground. Defense, keep it. Offense, neutralize it. So most maps will have a high ground advantage or a choke point advantage. King's Row is one of the ones you don't really have a high ground advantage, but you clearly have the choke advantage. Over this one time. One, Dose, Trace. So, side topics, dead person. I'd be up for analyzing and critiquing VODs, yes. I have no problem doing that. Ice advantage is amazing. Dropping down my nades, more spammy and less aiming, even if it's 1v1. So, I like to explain stuff. The fuck does high ground mean? Everyone talks about it. What does it mean? And go ahead and chat. I want someone just to spit out some stuff. What do you guys think high ground really means? Because no one talks about this. We just go, oh, he has the high ground. Doesn't that suck? I don't even think casters know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, all the torb actually all the torb spots are high grounds. That's actually it's just high ground. There you go. You guys know what that says. Better vantage point. Theorem, you said. That's correct. Makes you harder to hit. Yep. Easier to hit. Correct. Better vantage. Yep. That's what it said. High ground is head advantage. Engage or disengage. Ant time. So all those things I would say correct. And the big things with high ground, dribble, R1, vision. Is that how you spell vision? Yeah, of course. Of course it's how you spell vision. Information is the most important thing in the game. We get through this through sight and sound because it's a game. We can't perceive it through anything other means until like some really crazy VR stuff comes out. So information is by far the most important thing you get for high ground. With vision, with information, you get what you said, dead person. Second, actually no, it's the first thing you said. I will phrase it as options. Options. What high ground gives you, it's hard to do it on King's Row actually. High ground, let's just say the entire team's here. My entire team's here. One, I can see what they're doing. They can't see what I'm doing. So I get the information advantage. Two, if they don't have any classes that can scale vertically very well, which most of the time you can't, exceptions would be like Maywalling an entire team up, right? That's very rare and it would take quite a bit of coordination. What you get is the option to engage or to disengage whenever you hell want. And because you hold information, you get options. Meaning I can come this way, I could drop down this way, I could just drop down straight on top of you. Hell, as Junkrat, you could sit back here and bounce grenades off the ground and they could trickle down on them. These are all options that you get by holding the high ground. Now, in cases where high ground isn't available, this I would say King's Row is a map where vertical distance doesn't mean that much. I would take advantage of high ground here. Maybe this catwalk back here. There's like 3 places to get high ground advantage here that really matter. Other than that, it doesn't matter. So what we need to neutralize, instead of the high ground, is the choke point, right? That's the other high ground. Call it choke. Choke. And this is what I was talking about before. So Reinhardt holding 1. And in most of my cases, I'm going to be talking about Reinhardt. Reinhardt's just like a necessary evil right now. And it's because of his ability to hold ground so well. So when a Reinhardt holds this ground, and by the way, tanks equal area. Oh. Tanks are area control. And now they do this through damage mitigation. Call it D. Damn it. So Reinhardt, he denies area by protecting his team through damage mitigation. Because his DPS team is here and you can't hit them, and they can hit you, that's how Reinhardt essentially controls this entire area. And even up here is risky. Start getting to like orange area from this. But I mean, look how much area Reinhardt can control with. That's why I find it so important to put damage on Reinhardt's shield. As soon as this goes away, if I erase, I'm going to erase fucking everything. As soon as this falls, get out of here. That goes away. My brush reset. There we go. Once this goes away, you get options. Now, vision, when it comes to choke points, I would say it's even vision. You can kind of see stuff, they can kind of see stuff. It's 50-50. But when you push them back from this first point and you get to the second choke point, it is a very large choke point, but Reinhardt can still control this much area. He starts waning here. It would be like here, he starts waning. This would be the yellow area. But what do you gain? You gain this. Gain all of this. If you have people that can traverse vertical distances, actually gain up to this point comfortably. That's huge. And again, get options. You get some good options here. Right? You gain 2 flanks. Kind of. We'll go back to yellow here. Yeah, it's a little risky. Still doable, but it's there. Take all this away. Oh, my check. This is gone. This is gone. And once they're stuck in this corner, you gain all the options. Right? This is incredibly threatening at that point. This secures this area for you, to a greater extent, and then all iterations of this. So you really start putting the pressure on them. And with this, it does take extra time, but I mean, you do have these options. But more importantly, even if those options aren't that great, options, you still have availability to do that. Oh no, damage mitt. Get back there. Well, that's the first thing. Get rid of the train advantage. Me, too, I would say secure. So I'm a bit of a slow pusher. I'm very comfortable slow pushing. And now, what that does is it costs more clock time, but it gives me a higher percentage of winning. Or at least I would like to think it. So after I push them here, after they get off their first choke point, I'm not going to try to crush through the second choke. Right? They still got a good way to fight from here. Right? If Reinhardt's shield's still up, if their tanks are still up, they could still dish out damage very easily. They could still take your team out. So I would just slowly push up, and I would just start doing the exact opposite to them. I'd start push up my Reinhardt shield to here. Or here, depending how you want to do it. That's up to your team. I think both are viable. And then you put your defense here. Or attackers there. Or way up here. Uh, Basically, this takes away the option of reclaiming the first choke. It forces them to be on the second point. Now, because I like to push so slowly, it does give them a chance to set up again. Like, maybe if you crush past this first choke point and you kill a guy, they're so bewildered that you can take out a couple more and immediately get the point. Again, higher risk, higher reward. I prefer to go slower. I'd rather have a greater chance at securing the object. And then from here, I would just put pressure on them, either through getting a kill, destroying the shield, or just slow pushing myself. And then I would try to get him to fall back to the third point. And I would bring up my line here. I would then just bring this up. My Reinhardt would take this spot, and we would just slowly start sieging this. Again, you put pressure here, which makes him feel unsafe. Try to push him out here through just scaring the shit out of him. And that's my that's my general battle theory for every single point. Also, Zeno pointed out, yeah, on the high ground, technically, because the headshot box is closer, it's a little bit easier to hit them, and it's a lot easier to get headshots. But that this can differ from player to player. Like Dead Person, who asked the question, when I'm on the high ground at greater than 15 feet, how do you shoot someone on the low ground? Because it feels like it's a bit spammy. Because actually, the problem is that you only get one shot. This looks terrible. Let me good drawing. Problem is that I think most models are smaller from above than it is at shooting at them sideways, or however you want to dimensional. What I do I like to shoot right in front of them, and I try to bounce it into them. Because if you aim directly at them, I feel like they can move forward and dodge your shot. What I do is I take this, whatever plane this grenade is traveling on, I take this entire plane away from them to dodge at. They have to dodge. I can't draw it, but it would be this way and that way, right? I can't draw that dimension. So I actually shoot at their feet. That seems to work really well for me. That's my personal opinion on how to shoot the high ground. Also, most places on the high ground will have a backdrop. Shoot. That's a good way to get them. Also, if you shoot back, you can be back farther, which gives them no point of view to hit you. Back here, you'll be completely safe to shoot off that wall. But high ground for Junkrat are traps. That's my trap picture. Just constantly drop traps on their face. That works really well. But I don't hold the high ground as like with a death grip because Junkrat can navigate terrain, vertical terrain very easily. I mean, 8 seconds is the cooldown. But I will jump up on a high ground. Sometimes I don't even jump up on there, and I'll just take a couple shots and then fall back down, and then do it, 8 seconds later, and then keep doing that. What this does, it also, since I'm constantly getting information on where they're at, and this is a little risky, you can get shot, obviously. It puts pressure on them, and it can stop them from. It does take some options away for them, because you're constantly shooting on them. Also, if you get the information, like you jump up once, remember Junkrat. This is a good 2D dimension. See it from. But Junkrat's grenades will hit that entire high ground at times. So if you get good information on them, don't be afraid of just to shell the high ground. If you don't have it. Most importantly, you need to stay alive. So if your high ground gets breached, fall back. As soon as someone comes up and challenges you, throw a remote mine in their face and use that to escape. Well, the key thing as a DPS player is to stay alive. That's your sole job. Yeah. I guess my third step would be pressure. Or well, I don't even want to say or. I would say or get picks, but this whole time you're looking for picks. At no point are you not looking to kill people. You're just looking to kill people on your terms instead of being really aggressive and pushing onto them. Um, all attacking. Here's a good fact in life. Attacking exposes weak. Any type of attack in any type of game in any type of anything exposes weak. If I'm a person and I punch, that exposes my ribs to get hit. If you're flanking on a map, one person, you expose yourself just getting destroyed, right? It's one person against six. You got six here, you got one here. Six just kills the one, and then it's a 5v6. That's the risk of flanking, is that the one can be killed immediately. So stay alive. They got one here and five here. If you stay alive, with Junkrat specifically, You can easily put pressure on that. Like they'll try to skirt up on your team and just shoot them from behind. Other other DPS players can do that, but Junkrat can do it from complete safety. But yeah, this is so goddamn important. This is also why you don't attack when on defense, because you have the terrain advantage. Don't expose weakness. Make them work harder for every single kill. Show no weakness. Make them attack you and show weakness. Then take advantage of that. That's what I say. I'm a reactive player. I'll usually just chill back here. I'll chill back here, just doing my thing. Just like don't mind me until you attack me. And then I'm like, well, then either I bite your head off or I retreat, and then all of a sudden they have a player out here that my team can kill. I pull people. I try to pull people out of position. What I do. I stay just out of reach of their well attacks to stay safe to a point where they have to deal with me. But if they deal with me, it exposes weakness. That's my personal method of attacking a defense. Right. I want to try to pull them out of position. They have the advantage innately on defense. Like, come on, attack me, please, please, like, please let me piss you off. Get tilted, get upset at Junkrat, do something, jump at me, come up here. Go ahead, I'm just gonna run away, and then you're out of position. Now that's something that you have to deal with. Yeah, really important, really, really important. Yeah, I mean this is all there is to it. All right, Theron. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. I mean, I hope I answered your question. I know attacking from the high ground is rough, but shoot for the feet. Give yourself the best percentage chance of hitting them. Don't think about like shooting it like a hit scan. Should be good. But this is what I do every single point, and I do it slowly. Negate the high ground, get the choke or the high ground advantage. Use that high ground to get vision and options. Based on the information you get, exploit what options they do not have or exploit the options you do have. Whatever ground you get, secure it. And then slowly pressure and choke them off. Uh, I wish I had. Maybe I have. Maybe I do have some videos of me doing this. Done. I'm just. Videos. Ah, my video folder. What I can get. Is there any questions so far? Maybe you're there. I'll highlight this. Are we? Back to recording. I wish I could understand why I do so better fighting on the high ground. I'll just tell you, first of all, high ground aiming is difficult. It's different. I would say it is harder as Junkrat. I'll usually save my mind to get close to an enemy, but then blast me to high ground and them as far away as I can with it. That's the correct way. When someone encroaches on your territory, definitely just use a mine. If you're close enough, yeah, use it where you push them away and you push yourself away at the same time. But you should be in a defensive position to the point where you won't get attacked like that, and you'll just have to throw the mine out and push it away at long distance. Okay, so you want me to do Anubis? Anubis! Here is Anubis. Yeah, this guy makes really good maps. Not gonna lie. You may be playing junk too aggressively. It's very possible. I would, like, if you want to record yourself somehow and then throw me the VOD, I'll look at it. You know what? Could do? You said you're gonna play right now, right? I could watch you and critique you and make you feel like shit. That is something we could actually do. But before I do that, Zeno, your question. Let's do Anubis defense. All right, I've talked about this time and time again. I do not hold, in this case, the top path. It's too risky. This is just way too risky. What I'd like to do. All right, first of all, we're gonna need a better color on the sand. I will trap here. See if I get lucky. Secondly, once this is my lucky trap, right? You got time to do whatever the hell you want when you're defending. This guy's a fucking idiot. The Torb turret. Get the fuck here. That's a mess. After my lucky or unlucky trap gets placed, what I do is I hold down this southern path in this case. My reasons for this. If I hold the top pass, traps here or here, one, I can be shot directly from. Two, if the team doesn't care and they go the bottom path, the time it takes them to go this right here is probably twice as quick, if not 3 times as quick, because they're doing a Lucio boost, as the time it takes for me to go all the way around here. And I'll lose any attacks I can get on them while they're trying to get to this high ground. After they get. Okay, no, that's cool. I'm cool for any questions, you know. So, that's a good point. So what we do when we fall back? My big thing is, I don't want them to get to this high ground. In fact, I would go as far to say I don't want to get back to this. Because if they get this high ground, and they get this internal room, this is the top room, this is essentially theirs. Yeah. And the only way to do that, that your first line of defense, basically, it gets really wishy-washy there. Right there. Yellow, I mean, you do hold it, but you don't hold it that well. But there is some resistance to them getting to it. I'll be somewhere, I'll just say right here, between the room and the bridge. And so with this, I hold this room with relative ease. If they do take this choke, which a lot of people will do after they see you're kind of shooting here, and you can get shots here to bank off that way. But this area right here is pretty much shut off to them. Unless they come in with a Roadhog and hook you, there's always like the chance they just like turn around the corner. I think that doesn't happen. If they take this corner, they come this way, it's just another choke point. It's the same thing as if you try to hold here, looking this way. So, yeah, don't worry about them taking this. In fact, what's bad about this is if they're taking their sweet ass time, jump up here and punish them, or bounce grenades off here and punish the hell out of them here. And if not, just shoot them here. But not only are they low ground, but you can bounce things off the wall and hit the supports behind them. Most importantly is if your team pressures in this way, and your team starts owning this and they retreat, you're just shooting that same choke they tried to take earlier. Kill them on the retreat. This is good. This is our first point. I would consider this the first choke. The problem on Anubis is once you lose this, you lose nearly everything. Nearly everything. Next, like line of defense. Yeah, I want to say it's like this. And this may change with time. And the problem is that you have a lot of ways in. Yeah, I consider this high ground held pretty. I would say there is no third. I mean, third's here. You lose the point. Maybe you can regroup for one final attack, but that's about it. And you lose the choke, and I think Dead Person asked this question. Yeah, this is the question I didn't answer at first. Sorry about this. So, or was it you, Zeno? What do you do? Someone can attack ever they want. Lost a good choke point. They can hit you from however distance, anywhere, including high ground here, which is this is the worst. A Widow up here, my god. Widow up here shuts down. This is the space she shuts down. Basically everything. Shuts down from here to here, a good Widow. I mean, it's really bad. Okay, it was you, Zeno. Good. So how do you introduce order to this insane situation? They're attacking every which way. How the hell do you deal with it? Well, only way I can tell you is the easy way is to tell you to kill someone. I know it's a lot easier said than done. But what I like to do, I like to remove options, right? Getting attacked from 3 different ways, pretty complex. It's a lot to deal with. If you can pick, well, you're not gonna be able to pick an easy way to shut one down. You can try to pressure off targets, which is gonna be this high ground. I say the high ground is the easy target because by foot is the longest distance away. It takes a lot of time for them to get reinforcements there. But again, you're attacking the high ground, so they get the information advantage and they get the option advantage. They can come down when they want, where they want, and it's harder to hit them. So if you were going to attack from 3 spots, I would actually be up here. If they're not running a Widow or a Hanzo. If they are, maybe even back here. And I would just get them off this point. Your other options are to be over here. Man, this really sucks. But down here, you can be in this open area, but you're just vulnerable to fire. So I try to remove the enemy's options. My first option would be this one. It's the hardest for them to hold. It's the easiest for them to give up. If they do give it up, they'll give it up to this point, right? It's not like they give it up and they're just going to be like, oh, I can immediately go back here after 1 or 2 seconds. Like they give it up and it's like a 5 second commitment. So I would say this: attack the high ground if you're going to attack from all three. If you're not, um, I actually like there's these. I can't. Yeah, here, killer. I believe there's an. I like taking this semi-high ground away from them. Because usually people don't actually take the high ground. Yeah, usually it's just this. This is what you're dealing with. Most of the time, most of your team is dead, right? Half your team's dead, and you got to deal with this shit. Uh, that's usually the only time you get dealt with when your first line falls back because of death. Now, and maybe hold this area. Like, gonna be a 1 if they start coming up this way. You gotta fight here. Falling back from your 1 position on Anubis, and this is what makes the map so difficult to defend the first point, you don't have a good fallback option. You do fall back. I attack high ground because it's here. This area here, it's far away. You can maybe shoot over, but shooting directly through, it's slow. I mean, your shots from here to here take a really long time. It's hard to get someone. What you can do is you can shoot over the staircase and hope you hit someone. But most likely they want line of sight on you, so they're underneath the bridge or behind it. Usually half the team will be up here on the high ground, and this high ground here, this semi-high ground, gives full access to this entire back area. It's a very vulnerable point once you lose the area. This and Hollywood, I would say, are the hardest first points in Overwatch to hold for any class. All right, person, thank you. I'll look at that. Both Hollywood and Anubis have this issue where the first high ground to hold is like a semi-high ground. It's not super high. Like a May wall can get up to it. Also, it's vulnerable from attack from the entire front line, right? Your entire front line can hit this. If your supports are anywhere but up here, they can't support you. Like if your supports are back here, they can kind of help, but they lose a lot from being that far back. Your supports have to be up here with you. Everyone has to be up here. It's difficult. As soon as you lose this first one, get in a really, really bad situation. They have all the terrain advantage, the choke point advantage. They have every advantage in the book. And you're stuck holding this really vulnerable area with no easy way to do it. Which is why your question's so difficult to answer. I cleave off options. Move this option. Try to take that away from them. It's one less thing you gotta fucking do. From there, I attack this high ground. I will siege this way. I do that because it's harder for them to see. Targets are easier to hit. I have the pillars that I discussed before, and if you miss them, it has a chance of bouncing back and hitting them. This area, this first line, basically 1 becomes their 1. Like, oh, now it's our 1. This is where they're going to hold. And actually, them getting this gets them this. And gives them area up here. This is why. This first line folds, and they get so much area. Attacking here is really slow. Attacking here is not often, and you can't get a good shot because they get the high ground advantage. Your best bet is attacking this ground, and once you remove this option from them, if you remove this option from their area and they're stuck here or here or here, uh, then your team can press up. That's when your team can start pressing up and start weeding people out, getting people out of here, and you force them back this choke. Force them here, and then you push them back out. Right? That's what you want to do. You want to consolidate anything that they have. So if they're here, here, and here, you just want to push them out. Push them out so that they're only here now. And then you push them that way, right? Put them in a bunch, and then get them out. Side one, yeah, side one is like, man, it's like this. Because if you do have a vertical playing player, they can jump over here. Yeah, no, like this first defense line is difficult to hold, and you have a very shit fallback. You know, again, if they only have one guy holding this high ground, kill him. Wherever you see weakness, if they only have one guy here or one guy here, take them out. Unless they're all like, for some reason, they got like 6 guys underneath the bridge. Yeah, shoot the 6 guys under the bridge. Like, if they're coming up a choke point, do what you do best with Junkrat and just shut them down. But when I talk about this kind of stuff, I talk about general mechanics. So this is neutral to any class. And if someone jumps on you, say if you're in the World Championship and you're Russia, and South Korea sends a Winston to jump on you, and he jumps on you here, love of God, don't give a fine. What Russia did is they lurked around, and the entire team looked. 3 people fell back down here, and they looked up. And then the rest of the team just came in. Because of one Winston. That happens, your tank needs to look forward with a DPS, and probably with the other tank. And then your DPS and 2 supports need to... Yeah. It takes a lot of discipline, though. That. Winston's always been a good pick, and this is why I've always said I've preferred a Winston on my team, is that he just jumps in and just makes things hell. Which is really good for Junkrat, because when there's chaos, that's when you kill people. When people can't account for your grenades, that's when you're going to get kills. Winston is a really strong pick. In fact, what it has to be is it's like Winston Zarya, and Winston jumps in with a bubble. That usually gets a lot of kills. Um, he does. Yeah, that's why Winston doesn't work at lower levels and works at higher. But Winston alone won't win it for you. Winston Zarya though will do. All right, I'm gonna take a short break while that person uploads that because my pizza's been done. I'm gonna probably eat a slice of pizza, and then shoot me the link, and we'll look at it and I'll critique it. So we'll wait while that person uploads the link, and yeah, reconvene in like I don't know, 3-4 minutes. Won't be long. I'll be watching though, eating but watching.